Good evening, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Cambodia Global Dialogue on Southeast Asia TV. Tonight, the topic will be quite interesting particularly for the young entrepreneur, for the young savvy IT people. We're going to be talking about ICT. We're going to be talking about e-commerce. We're going to be talking about the new economy in the context of ASEAN, of course. Because as you know, we are part of the ASEAN Economic Community. It's been 8 months already since we are in the AEC, and a lot of opportunity emerged in that context. And I have the pleasure to have two very sophisticated IT people. I don't know much about that, but we'll have a chance later on to discuss that. So I have Stephen Pass, who is the president of the ICT Federation, and Thomas Han, who is the VP, but I will let them introduce themselves, save me the hassle. All right, Stephen, so welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Siphana.
You can call me Pu Siphana.
Pu Siphana.
Okay.
It's a pleasure to be on your show. ICT Federation, we are very excited with the relaunch recently, and for us, we are definitely going to be focusing on empowering Cambodia's digital economy to assist the entrepreneurs, the young, the startups, and as well as the capacity building, helping the students to be more prepared when they graduate.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Good. But you also have your own private company, right?
Yes. So I'm also the CEO of a company called Pat Amazing. We have about 100 software engineers.
Okay.
We specialize in mobile apps and websites.
Okay.
Where we've launched products in Malaysia, in the US, Singapore, and here in Cambodia as well.
All right. Good. Thomas, you're a long time.
It's getting so long.
Yeah. How long you been in Cambodia, Thomas?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm since 9 years in Cambodia.
Well, one more year you can claim.
I can
you
claim
can celebrate your anniversary.
Somewhat.
First decade in Cambodia.
Yeah, not bad, right?
Yes.
I'm the CEO of Smart Axiata on my primary function, but have joined also the board as the vice president of ICT Federation, because it's certainly telecom is a very integral part of ICT, mm-hmm. and probably the enabler of a digital economy in Cambodia. And we have restarted the ICT Federation earlier this year, exactly as Steven mentioned, to give a bit of spark to the digital economy and to bridge the digital divide. Mm-hmm. So that's a big mission we have on our plates, and tonight I think we will talk about how we plan to achieve a bit of bridging this digital divide.
Yes. Well, I would say that for me, I always go back as a policymaker to the days when Cambodia negotiated the accession to the WTO, where we open up the economy, we liberalize the economy in most of the sector. And of course, in the ICT, we always believe that it is a source of growth in itself, not just tourism, construction, or say other industrial industry, right? So ICT, e-commerce, it's always been part of the agenda, the policy agenda. But we also felt that 10 years ago, let's face it, ICT was not there. I mean, not there yet, right? I mean, e-commerce was still early. In China, was like 12 years ago was nothing, right? And now it's still about 500 billion, right? So in the work of the ICT Federation, you have to start early, right? But it's sort of like slowing off a bit. Now you're reviving with more impetus. Is that what it is?
Yes. I think we have to look at overall the entire industry, where we were, say, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and where we're at today, and where we want to be 5-10 years from now. We do believe that, I think, Cambodia as a country, we need to kind of create the new branding of Cambodia.
Okay.
How are we seen in the rest of the world, as well as in this region? Unfortunately, I think our industry hasn't been quite as united, coming together, and especially, the ICT Federation one of the benefits of becoming a member is that we have one voice.
Yes.
We have one voice to the foreign embassies, one voice to the government.
Yes.
And say for example with tech giants like
Yes.
Google and
Okay.
Apple and Facebook. There are a lot of big tech giants around the world that are interested in investing and coming into Southeast Asia. They've made investments into many areas in Thailand and Malaysia, as well as Vietnam. But Cambodia has been largely overlooked. And so we're
Because
trying
of
to
our market
address-
size?
market size, I think there's several fronts. For us, is when we look at the federation, is that we need to mentor many more of these young entrepreneurs
Okay.
to build successful IT startups. But the other we're addressing is, are we ready to take on the increased demand
Yes.
that we're now trying to sell?
Yes.
For example, IT outsourcing was really big in India and the Philippines, and now it's coming to Vietnam, it's coming to our neighboring countries.
Yeah.
But again, Cambodia is largely overlooked. And so we've been asked,
Yeah.
are we ready to handle this kind of demand? And we're trying to address this. For example, or actually looking at all the data, we extrapolated that there's about 30,000 IT professionals.
Oh,
However,
not
in
bad.
order to handle this kind of a expected demand, we need to reach like 100,000 IT professionals.
Ah, okay.
And so we, the federation, have a responsibility now
Yes.
for working with the government, working with Ministry of Education, working with the
To
universities.
create the supply.
Yeah,
To create the supply.
and getting our young students more prepared for the real world.
Yes.
Cambodians are known to, I think, able to learn the technical skills. They can learn how to code and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
But the rap that we get around globally is that we are not innovating.
Ah,
We're
okay.
not critical thinkers.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
So
All right.
that's where
So I
that's
think
where
the soft skill is still a
It's
bit
definitely
lacking,
soft skills
and it's
lacking.
not just in your sector. We in other sector as well. It's a matter of exposure matter, and that's why it's important in the context of the ASEAN economic community, where we have this freedom of travel without having visa to go to a neighboring country. You buy the e-ticket, you fly, you come home over the weekend or for dinner at night. Exposure, and exposure. In real estate, it's location. So I think with company like you, Thomas, that are so big into smartphone, into the broadband. I don't know much. You may have to describe a bit about your company. But how do we, use this infrastructure, right? This broadband infrastructure to enable people who are using the smartphone and everything as a start, right? As a start.
Well, I'm always an optimist, so the glass is half full, not half empty. And the ICT industry in Cambodia is not that small, but yes, it is not receiving as much as visibility as the tourism or the garment industry. Ballpark, we are roughly $1 billion in revenue as a whole industry. Certainly, the telecom companies are representing probably $700 million out of this $1 billion. But still, that's somewhat 8% of the GDP, right? So it's not a small sector.
Substantial.
And it is a massive enabler of everything around. I think without smartphones, without mobile communication, you cannot imagine the life in the city anymore, right?
19 some million smartphone user now?
Well,
The
we are
last
still
count.
struggling a bit of
Number.
putting actually the 100% numbers.
Grosso modo.
Well, from a rough number, we are somewhere at maybe 18, maybe 19 million SIM cards in the market. That does not mean that this translates into 100% population penetration.
Okay.
Many people still carry 2 SIM cards, 3 SIM cards, but the market has fairly stabilized a bit. And investment into infrastructure is on top of the list.
Yes.
And I have to say, Cambodia, in terms of mobile infrastructure, mobile telecom infrastructure, in terms of broadband, 4G, we are not behind any of our neighboring countries. Probably even we are ahead of the one or the other.
Really?
I mean, 4G was introduced 2 years ago in Cambodia by Smart. Vietnam, I think, is still not yet on 4G, for example.
Thailand auction last year, right?
Thailand is launching now. They have launched a bit. Laos, I think, very minimal. But ultimately, I mean, we are an enabler from a telecom perspective, and the market is ready to flourish in terms of technology. And I see a lot of youngsters who are very geeky, very eager to explore the latest technologies. I mean, just yesterday was the iPhone 7 launch, and that was the talk of the town yesterday, right? So the people are eager to get their hands on the latest technology. So there is a big opportunity. And indeed, what you mentioned earlier, I mean, Cambodia is liberalized in terms of their economy. There's no foreign ownership restrictions. We can debate, is it good to have dollar as a main currency or not? We have a very low inflation as a result of we have a very young, dynamic population. So I mean, actually, it's a perfect ground for also a technology industry to groom up and to flourish.
So okay, if I can just look at the larger picture, infrastructure, we okay. Is the government continuing to invest more into the backbone, the infrastructure there? Cloud data center, thing like this, right? Do we have to host always somewhere else, or when can we host in the country, for example?
Fortunately, recently that has changed. Before, when we were looking at hosting any of our platforms, we're always looking at Microsoft or Google. But that has really changed with investment by a company called CTEL.
Yes.
They invested in a cloud data center that is estimated at over $100 million.
Wow!
So this is now is offering like an international hosting standard. This is now we recognize is really the first international center in Cambodia of its kind. And the government, I think, recently has also has agreed to use CTEL as the host provider.
Okay.
I believe that this opened up at least an option to be able to now find a host provider locally in Cambodia, and we should be exploring those opportunities.
So infrastructure is okay. You mentioned about the lack of supply, where you feel that we could aim for 100,000 job, if I can say, right? I mean, software, app design, whatever. At the end of the day, is about job.
Oh yes.
So we employ about 30,000 now. But how do you see, and how do you get 100,000? And what are the time frame?
Please allow me to chip in on the infrastructure question once more. Where the government is making certain moves, no doubt. However, most of the infrastructure investments are private initiatives, means private companies, which actually in our industry in particular is, from my perspective, the right way, because it's a very competitive environment. Right? The technology is changing rapidly. Ultimately, if government is investing into infrastructure, data centers, telecom networks, etc., wherever I have seen government doing that, they were struggling compared to private initiatives, the private sectors doing it. So what is the role of the government? Certainly is setting the rules, setting the policy.
As a regulator, should be.
Regulate, and I think we have seen a significant stepping up here of the government in the last couple of, probably 2-3 years. And that is stabilizing certainly not stabilizing, it was stable before, but more making it reasonable, making it a healthy environment to move forward. Also in the field of human resources. The PTC is investing into that NIPTIC university.
What is that? What
National Institute Post Telecom IT.
Okay.
Right now, new campus have been created, and there's drive also and understanding that if you want to build that industry as one of the backbones of the country, then yes, the human capital aspect has to be deployed at the same time. We need to invest into that. And we believe one of our roles at the ICT Federation is also to engage in those aspects and come out with capacity building programs which will help that sector.
I think it's a good time to take a short break, and when we come back, I want to stress more on the capacity building, measure that we have to do as a federation, alone, as a federation in tandem with the government, in partnership with the government. How do you create that supply so that we are able to attract, the critical investment to come to the country?
Yes,
all right, so we'll take a short break. All right, so let's focus now on the capacity building side. I like before capacity building is quite old, but now I want to think more about how do we strengthen, how do we deepen, how do we enlarge our capacity, in the sector, for example.
I think we have to do this in a larger scale. So this is why we've been actually participating in a number of workshops with Ministry of Post and Telecom, and then with the universities. We are telling universities that many of the private companies are willing to go and talk to universities and be the mentors. Where our companies, we will dedicate resources to make this happen.
Yes.
Rather than individuals, where individuals would go in, the individual would kind of say, what's in it for me? How am I going to be paid? Instead of that, we, at the ICT Federation, our board, our companies are committed to sharing the resources. So, for example, my company, we specialize in software development, and we have many, I consider, world-class developers. So we want these world-class developers to go to the universities and help guide these students. Not like that we can have mentors there, full time, constantly, but to be able to provide some guidance. That can really, I think, will make a difference because it can really shed some light on of the real world of what they should focus on.
Yes. But I want to go back a little bit, upstream, because when you go there, the people have to be in a position to absorb the level of sophistication you bring into the picture. Describe me a bit the larger pool of the people, the capability. Where are they now? If you are benchmarking, say for example with Vietnam or Thailand, where are we?
So I think if you look at just strictly on the software engineering side, the other countries, our neighbors are further along. But they also have significant support from the government, from their education, as well as big tech giants that are invested there. For example, Google has agreed to train 1,400 software engineers in Vietnam, over 3,000 engineers in Indonesia. So this is significant support from companies that are in the forefront of all this. Could you imagine if Google agrees to come to Cambodia and train 1,000 engineers?
Just 1,000,
It will make a huge impact.
Yes. Do we have 1,000 kids ready to? At a level that can jump in?
Yes, for sure. On the technical side, the young Cambodians are very hungry, just like Thomas said earlier. We're born in this world, the era of gadgets and Facebook and people getting their hands on the latest, the latest and the newest iPhone. So it kind of, demonstrate or indicative of, I think, the young that are seeing IT as a career. Where before they might just be told, by their parents, that they heard that going IT to make a good living. But now it's more about their true passion, it's their interest, their love for technology and getting into programming. So this is what we want to go to universities and educate them also about programming in IT, people think that IT is only about programming. But if you go in IT, there's many different tracks that they can go into. There's graphics, there's animations, kind of design work. There's project management.
Oh wow!
Right.
Wow. So it's quite broad. I mean,
It's quite broad.
Amazing, right? So if we just take on that broad, sort of like division of labor, the prospect for employment is not just for IT guy, right? It's for design, for animation. It's different set of skill, right?
Yes.
Different set of training, right?
Right.
I see. Like Pokemon, right?
Yes. Yes.
But Thomas, your company, what sort of outreach you're doing to build that awareness, to build that desire in the youth to say, look, guys, love IT, love engineering.
Well, little backtracking, making the big picture a bit broader. I mean, what I see in the general education landscape, yes, I think we are catching up, but we have not yet started much on digital education.
Digital education
in the basic education.
Yes.
So most of my observation, not entirely exhaustive, but my observation is that the curiosity is created by getting the hands on the gadgets, trying it out, getting amazed about the latest softwares, etc., and being just from their nature being a bit more geeky. Instead of that, the curiosity is created at school level. However, we have a lot of bright minds here, which creates the basis for then higher level IT education.
Okay.
And there are a couple of education institutions now in Cambodia who are focusing especially on IT and digital economy. Let me go a bit back where the government has chipped in now. With the telecoms law, which came into force
last year, right?
In December last year. The telecoms law is foreseeing a capacity building fund being created by telecom companies, all companies which are governed by the telecoms law, providing funds into that capacity building fund. At the excess of 1% of their gross revenue.
Yes.
So if you take into account that the telecoms companies are somewhere at 700 million, 650, 700 million, it will create a quite substantial fund, let's say $7 million per year of resources which then can be spent for capacity building. It has to be still finalized as a regulation, which I think NPTC is working on, and probably before end of the year we know more. But the foundation is made. That's also resources being put together. Funded by the telecoms company, which then can be used to build a broader capacity in that space. Back to your question, how we as Smart, as a telecoms company, created curiosity, how we outreach. When Smart launched 4G 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago meanwhile, we saw, and that's why we decided to build 4G instead of just sticking to 3G as a data network. But we saw already the uptake. Smartphone penetration is growing. Facebook is the #1 application logically here in Cambodia, and there's a general desire of having the latest gadgets. Affordable or not affordable, but the desire is But also the price points of phones came significantly down. They're somewhere now at $70-80 for a 4G smartphone, and the smartphone penetration is now somewhere close to 50% already in the market. So the foundation is there. What is a bit of a challenge for us still, if you would go on the street and ask people, are you using the internet? You will likely hear no. If you ask them, are you using Facebook? They will say yes.
Okay.
So the the world is still a bit of narrow.
Yeah.
It's very much
Yeah.
Facebook is my world. And
Yeah.
Facebook obviously has a lot of opportunities nowadays.
Yes.
It's your news. It's
But
your
they didn't know
commerce.
that Facebook is built on the internet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
so
Okay.
it's a bit of upside downs there.
Yes.
But irrespectively, I mean, Facebook is a big incubator at the end of the day also for learning about news, technology developments, and they are at the forefront of technical development.
Yes.
And, live video, etc. So people are diving into. And the more people use it and use data and use internet, the higher the likelihood that you find people who love it and want to make it a professional and want to make it a professional career out of it.
Gotta
Because
start somewhere.
yeah, there is money on the table.
Yes.
I mean, we see the first e-commerce players coming to the market, young entrepreneurs who are having either some own ideas or, fair enough, taking ideas from abroad and adapting it to Cambodia. I mean,
You
don't need to reinvent the wheel all the time, right?
Speaking of e-commerce, how do you see the development of e-commerce now? Right. I mean,
Still in the
it's still in the starting mode,
stage,
right?
because there are a lot of challenges to overcome logistically. I
Yeah,
mean, how to ship
Okay.
the product to the consumer
Yeah.
at the affordable
Yes.
price tag.
Yeah.
Most of the e-commerce players, they do it with moto taxi or still they
Oh,
use
is that right?
their own motorbikes to deliver,
Okay.
which is somewhat a problem when you want to scale it. Right?
Yes.
So there is no whatever UPS or DHL in Cambodia domestically,
Yes.
which is probably capable enough to do on-the-spot delivery, same day delivery, or next day delivery at least.
So e-commerce
It's still a bit
it's
a
still
problem.
still relying on the physical delivery.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, the DHL, UPS alike, I mean, they have never seen better times than in the e-commerce world because they are the ones facilitating
Yes,
the
but
shipment of the product.
like for example, my son is as you know is a young author. He published 4 books, and I'm trying to get his book to be sold on Amazon. Right? I mean, how do I do it? You know, or maybe not on Amazon, but how do I get his book online, for example, and sell, for example?
There are hurdles.
Things like that,
There are
right?
still hurdles. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still hurdle, right?
Yeah.
Payment system.
That is the second major one.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, somewhat the consumers, I mean, the consumers, apologize the word, are a bit spoiled in a way because
Oh yeah.
so far cash on delivery is accepted by all the players in the market.
Okay. Are you saying it's bad or good?
It's in a way bad.
Okay.
I mean, for the consumers,
Yeah.
I can understand why they want to do cash on delivery.
Yes.
Cash on delivery is a genuine payment option. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if you want to establish a flourishing e-commerce landscape,
Yeah.
cash on delivery has limitations.
Yes.
There's simply the limitation that cash has to be handled by the one who's delivering
Yes,
the
yes.
product.
Security issue,
security,
that sort of
cash
thing.
handling costs
Yes,
money at the end of the day.
Yes.
It has limitations.
Yes.
So the consumers have the option of cash on delivery and they prefer still cash on delivery. So now you can ask the other way around. Why are they preferring cash on delivery?
Yes, why?
Is it a trust question?
Yeah. Okay.
Do they not maybe trust the e-commerce players that if you pay
Somebody's
the
not
product
going to hack you.
and you are not getting the product delivered,
Yes,
or it's
yes.
not at the quality you want to have
Okay,
it,
okay.
and then maybe the return policy is not as good. So there is maybe a trust factor.
Yes. Yeah.
Which also we at the ICT Federation have discussed. How can we establish elements of trust for e-commerce?
Yes.
I mean,
And
in other-
how would you do that?
well, in other markets, you have a certification process.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Where it's a trusted shop,
Yes,
right? So
yes.
if that's one of the agenda items we have on the list. I mean, if we establish
But
a
technically you can do it.
self-certification-
Technically you can do it, right?
Yes.
Of course. Of course. It's a matter of a self-certification process where all the e-commerce players have to accept a kind of code of conduct,
Yes.
right? And that has to be tested and is being adhered to in terms of delivery, quality of products, return policy, IT security. And that might create necessary level of trust that people are ready then to say, like, okay, I'm paying upfront via credit cards
Yes.
or via one of the mobile money services. Smart has launched its own mobile money service, Smart Louis. But there is Ring in the market, there is True Money in the market, maybe via such a service. And then the product is getting delivered. So that is one of the aspects.
So from the federation perspective, one of your main objectives will, of course, will have to enable, the development of e-commerce,
Definitely.
right? Yeah. So what's your game plan on that?
We'll be hosting a very important event soon to bring all the key players to help build this whole e-commerce ecosystem.
Yes.
We do believe that ICT Federation also has that responsibility to accelerate the adoption of e-commerce as quickly as possible. We do feel that there is sufficient payment methods. What is lacking in the market today is the consumer demand. I really believe that's fundamental. When you look at say social media and Facebook, why did Facebook just take off like that?
Yes.
All their friends were just using it. Everyone's sharing photos. Just created that demand that just became like just overnight. It feels like that now we have over 4 million Facebook users.
Yes. Yes.
E-commerce, I believe, is similar. It will have this trajectory growth, and I think the key is going to be really what happens in the next 12 months.
Yes.
There will be some, and we talked to a few key players that will be joining this e-commerce event. But there's also the products that we'll be launching that will require only e-payment, no longer will require cash on delivery.
And that will be the turning point where the e-commerce could actually have an exponential growth.
Yes. And so stressing earlier about the trust, not only that you have a platform that is certified and then people go, oh, this is certified by a reputable firm, but for the most part, Cambodians, the average Cambodian doesn't understand which security firms that certified and that has credibility. But if you associate with brands that they know already in Cambodia, so if you associate with brands like a bank or with Smart Loy and with Wing, or if you look at then partnership with merchants, merchants that are reputable, restaurant or brand names like like Masasuki Soup or something that you partner with. If you accept kind of e-payment, there's a brand that I think that Cambodians will trust. So we hope that it will change here in the next few months.
Good.
Yep.
Good time to take a break, and then when we come back, we'll talk a bit. How do we see the industry 5 and 10 years down the road? Stephen, we covered quite a bit. I mean, broad issue commerce, e-commerce, capacity building, sort of thing. Try to build the supply of a young, software engineer. Pretty good background of the past coming to where we stand today. But for the last session, I want to cover a bit. Where do we see the industry, 5, 10 years down the road? Where do you see the industry being a contributor to the national economy? Of course, we need jobs, but how do you see the industry helping Cambodia, become more competitive as a nation vis-a-vis other countries in the region?
So first of all, as we said earlier, really Cambodia has to go through a kind of a rebranding, the change in the image.
Okay.
And we're talking to the U.S. ambassador, and we want to talk to other foreign embassies. If you look at kind of the world media and the portrayal of Cambodia, unfortunately, it's usually in a negative light.
Yes.
But I believe, again, I think if we demonstrate some success stories coming out of Cambodia, maybe there's more media coverage on those stories. Just like how tourism industry is really taken off in the last several years, because all the tourists are coming here and they're rating Angkor Wat as the most amazing experience, and it's ranked number 1 and number 2 by TripAdvisor, by Lonely Planet. So tourism is going really well. The government industry is going well. But in those areas, it's what we consider as kind of low-skilled labor force filling in those jobs. But we have an opportunity in Cambodia now to address on the higher end skilled labor force. I've read everywhere that globally the big companies are making investments into Southeast Asia. Investment in the IT startups. Like Silicon Valley out of San Francisco Bay, and coming to invest in Southeast Asia, again largely overlooked in Cambodia. So for Cambodia, if we do that rebranding,
Okay.
of the country, and that we are digital ready, and we have the resources. For example, I think in this region, I would say, and some of the ambassadors will recognize that Cambodians here are more fluent in English than our neighboring countries. Right?
Indeed.
Yes. So English is an advantage, and you look at the technical skills. Cambodians have demonstrated that they can do this. Looking at just coding, graphics design, animations, we have a number of companies in Cambodia right now has been able to show the success stories, like Sabai Opcha with the games that are recognized, in this region, or I Think Asia that's doing some really amazing animations. Even an animated film co-produced with a French partner. This is all Cambodian talents, and we're also in our own company, Path Amazing. We're launching a major e-commerce app. As what I alluded to earlier, is that we hope that this is going to create this significant demand. But the possibility is that when we build something here in Cambodia, Cambodian market can be like a pilot market. But then if the products then launch into other markets in Brunei, in Thailand, Laos, Myanmar, in other countries, then that will again put us on the map. Will show that Cambodians can build products that rival the counterparts. And so this is what we believe in, and we want to create the environment conducive of this happening in the next several years. So if you look at 5 years out, 10 years out, we really hope that because of our young population, more and more will get into IT and will get into, I think they will see this as being really fun. It's fun to create animations, fun to create games, it's fun to create these e-commerce apps. And if it's fun to them, then they're going to really love it and they're going to excel in this. That's what really hope that this will create and the demand and put Cambodia on the map.
Thomas, I mean, your company is quite a. I like to call it before we use the word transnational, multinational company. Now we have another word is ASEAN, multi-ASEAN, our ASEAN company.
Yeah.
Your company is one.
No doubt. I mean, Axiata is present in Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal. So we are definitely spanning across ASEAN and South Asia. Putting it into context, we don't need to have to hide behind literally the sister companies we have in our group. From a technological perspective, we are pretty much on spot. And as I said earlier, I mean, also in terms of infrastructure, we don't need to hide. But indeed, what Stephen outlined, communicating that to the outer world, that hey, I mean, Cambodia is technologically quite advanced. Actually, we might have still issues on roads and electricity, but in terms of IT infrastructure, telecom infrastructure, we are quite on par, at least with far higher developed countries, and that's a good foundation to start at. What I observe in our daily work, I see a lot of companies, also pure Cambodian companies, small businesses, companies run by organizers, etc., groups. They're starting to understand telecom and digitization of their business is a differentiator when it comes to delivering good quality, delivering efficiency. So we see companies starting to adapt, using obviously modern communication channels, not only for fun and for entertainment, but to really put their business on such shoes. And that's why, I mean, I'm very upbeat in terms of making those steps in Cambodia as well, and leapfrogging from telecommunications and from an IT perspective in Cambodia. And with the foundations we have spoken about, I mean, very young population, indeed English is at a high level. If you are doing the right things now, setting scene for secondary education, university focusing on IT and technology, we can be on the same level than those countries we spoke about, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Co.
Siphana, I want you to cover a bit on how you see the prospect for employment in terms of, because you did mention that we start working with the ministry on the education, primary education, secondary education, university, but help them, guide them a bit as to what they should learn, because a lot of our audience are young, and sometimes they're in a university or about to take their high school diploma. They're a bit lost, right? I mean, if you guide them a bit as to what they should study as a prerequisite, for example, so that with that prerequisite they can go to this branch, right? In the IT, it's more than IT. There are automation, there are other sides.
Yes.
What's your advice?
For me, this is actually very personal for me, and I'm very passionate about this. Back in the U.S., I had the privilege to have a short program that educated in the top technology school in the world, MIT, Massachusetts Technology. Back then I was just in my early 20s, and I visited the campus of Harvard and MIT, and I was so impressed with what was going on at MIT, and I considered that a lot of the people that I was associated with were these geniuses, and what they were teaching was just remarkable. So I kind of come back here to Cambodia, and I see that image, and I have that dream to see that kind of a quality of education existing here in Cambodia. What I do believe is it's not all about the hard skill, technical skills. In fact, in my company, when we hire we consider top talents, we actually don't even stress the hard skills. We stress more on the attitude. We want to make sure that they possess the passion where I can look into their eyes and see that they have fire in their eyes, that they really love this, they really love the technology, they love coding. And any kind of coding, once someone who has that attitude and the passion, they can learn. It's very trainable. We can teach them Java programming, PHP programming, app development. That's no problem. But what we cannot really teach is really that attitude, that passion. This is why we believe we have to get to them early as possible.
Yes.
So in secondary school, before university, we want to give them that guidance. And the guidance is let them see the big picture coming from the real world perspective and from a global perspective. For me, being around Southeast Asia, being around in the US, hopefully would have some credibility when you're speaking, and so then you have a captive audience that will really listen. And when they look at those who have a track record, or those who have some success as well as failures in their lives, I think there's more credibility. And so these kids, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that kind of guidance, rather than just being told that they're getting into programming because there's good pay and this.
Yes.
But why are you getting into that?
Yes.
And then what are the different career paths that we touched on earlier?
Yes.
So this is what we need to guide them. And then guide them how important it is, as a Cambodian today, you can be a free thinker, you can be a critical thinker, you can think independently. You don't have to always think that you have to just follow the crowd and be orderly like lemmings, just like you're very disciplined, you just follow everybody. But what I teach lately, we also launched our own Path Amazing Academy, and we teach them to have that independent mind that will lead to innovations, to thinking outside the box. So there are strengths that we have in Cambodia that we recognize today, and then there's weaknesses. And the weakness that we see mainly is Cambodia right now is that we're in a kind of low value chain, and we're just using everything that's kind of third party. Yeah. We don't originate anything. We don't innovate anything. So this is what we want to stress. We want Cambodians to be able to innovate, launch platforms, technologies that not only use in Cambodia but used regionally and globally. That will definitely give us, that credibility. So I at the education level, technical skill, and then the soft skills, probably to me is probably 60% of what we're looking for when we're hiring these talented engineers.
Yes. Well, that's quite interesting. No, I think to me one of the best things, I still believe in globalization, right? Irrespective of
citizens.
The recent trend of anti-globalization, the sort of thing, the slowing down or the WTO negotiation, all this sort of thing. Oh, it's fine. But I'm thinking that globalization has a lot more plus than the minus, okay?
Sure.
And one of the great things from this globalization is the access to information, which to me, access to information is probably the greatest equalizer. You know, that now nobody can claim monopoly on knowledge, right? You know, and what you just described is exactly that if a Malaysian can develop an app that is so worldwide, why can a young Cambodian do it?
Right.
You know, nowadays when you use an app, you don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah, right.
You have no idea that coming from, you know, Lithuania or from Brazil. You don't know. So I think this can-do attitude is very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's to our advantage again. You know,
Yes.
the young Cambodians are very hungry for
Yes.
these opportunities. However, most Cambodians that I find are more. I mean, the way they think, their scope is limited, you know, locally, because that's their exposure.
Yes.
They're not exposed to the global
Yes.
world. But if they explore more, or they hear stories from yourself, you travel all over the world, and they hear stories from you, it's very inspirational.
Yes.
This is what we, as mentors, those who have that track record, I feel all Cambodians who are returning overseas and locally here have that obligation to share that knowledge with
Yes,
the
indeed.
young,
Indeed.
hungry
Yeah.
population here.
Well, Stephen, Thomas, thank you so much for coming to the show. We covered quite a bit, and unfortunately, even 45 minutes is too short. So I'm going to have to wrap up. But I want to say thank you for taking the time
Thank
to
you.
share. I think there's other issue behind this ICT, this IT, which is a subject of other discussion. You know, like cybersecurity, that sort of thing. But it's to me, this session is more an eye opener. It's not for us, but it's for the young audience, and I think we're doing them a great favor to expose them a bit what's out there. You know, enlarge their horizons so that they don't just go to study the easy management course, accounting course. I mean, there's only so much job as an economist, you know, or as a manager, right? But the world is wide open for this field of ICT, this digital. We talk a lot about digital divide, but it's also a digital enabler. And I think as a country that is starting, you know, from 2 decades earlier from a zero base, it's also nice sometimes to be the latecomer, because you can learn provided you learn, right? You can learn from the mistake of other country. You can skip the learning curve, right? I mean, and in digital, look, I mean, I love it. The reason I put it here is more just to say that, you know, if the latest one is coming out, why do you want to buy the stuff that is come out 2 years ago, right? So that's the beauty of a latecomer also, you know. But the trick is, how do you, you know, build enough awareness that these are not just you know, a toy or something for fun to play game, but it is a tool, you know, for your competitiveness. How do you apply this in your workplace so that it become an instrument of empowerment, right? It become a tool of productivity, right? Something that will save you a lot of time, something that will make your company perform more efficiently. We can go on and on the value added of this latest technology. But I'm glad to say that what Thomas have described, that we are doing good in the infrastructure, you know, side, okay, when it comes to digital connectivity. From the awareness, I think you guys are already, you know, working with the government, you know, with the Ministry of Education, with the Telecom Ministry, you know, on how to build this awareness. And if there's one message that I want to pass on today to the young reader, is that, you know, if you start loving IT, you start loving the digital world young enough, the opportunity for your career, for your growth prospect, for your future is there, you know. And I think all of us here are for them. So on that note, good learning. All right. Thanks.